The Prince of Egypt by Moses. The story of the Book of Exodus is told in the animated film classic, The Prince of Egypt, which was created by DreamWorks Pictures. The film depicts the life of Moses, the 10 plagues, and the eventual liberation of the Israelites from Egypt. Because of its stunning animation and Hans Zimmer's mesmerizing score, it is still widely regarded as a groundbreaking masterpiece nearly 25 years after it was first made available to the public in 1998. During my time as a student at a Catholic primary school, this movie was shown every year during the holiday season in the classroom. Yes, that is strange, considering that the Prince of Egypt narrates the story that forms the basis for the Jewish holiday of Passover, which takes place in the spring, but I think our teachers were seeking methods to keep us interested at the end of the year. Even though it was made specifically for children, the movie does not shy away from confronting topics such as death, war, slavery, and misery. It also does not minimize the importance of spirituality and theology. It wasn't until I had gained more life experience that I was able to view this movie from a fresh perspective and better understand the overarching message it was trying to convey. With my newfound expertise in the art of cinematic storytelling, I was awestruck by the way color was included as an integral component of the plot. The fight between God and idols, as well as the conflict between the Israelites and the Egyptians, Moses, Val Kilmer, and Ramesses, Ralph Fiennes, and, more generally, the colors red and blue, are all contrasted with one another. The color palette adds depth to the narrative by providing a more striking visual representation of the conflicting forces that are present in the work. At the beginning of the film The Prince of Egypt, which closely follows the biblical narrative, Moses' mother, Yocheved, Afrahaza, sends baby Moses off on the Nile River in a basket to protect him from the Pharaoh, who had ordered the death of male Israelite infants to prevent one of them from growing up to challenge him. Yocheved does this to protect her son from the Pharaoh, who had ordered the death of male Israelite infants to prevent. In this particular scene, Moses is seen donning a crimson item of clothing so that he can conform in appearance to his sister Miriam, Sandra Bullock, as well as his brother Aaron, Jeff Goldblum. The family of Moses is Jewish, and by dressing in a manner consistent with their origin, they demonstrate their connection to the ongoing battle that involves Israelites being persecuted and enslaved in Egypt. The Israelites are identified with the color red throughout the entirety of the movie due to the attire that they wear. The use of the color red could be intended to represent the blood of Israelites that was shed as a result of Pharaoh's oppression and enslavement of them. The Israelites, on the other hand, were designated as targets for Pharaoh whenever the color red was present. The Egyptian queen discovers Moses in his basket and decides to raise him as her son. She does this because she believes that the gods have sent him to her. Years pass, and Moses continues to mature into an elderly man. He chooses to dress in red, in contrast to his foster brother Ramesses, who favors the color blue for his attire. Even though Moses was unaware of his Israelite heritage as an adult, he maintained his connection to the people of Israel by wearing red clothing. Despite this, the color red that Moses wears helps him to stand out from the sea of blue that surrounds him in Egypt. Ramses wore a shade of blue that was identical to that worn by his mother, father, and the two high priests. Only Moses is allowed to wear red within the palace, which is a clue that he does not come from the royal family of Pharaoh. It is interesting to note that Moses is visibly distinct from the other people and things in Egypt, which highlights the fact that he does not belong there in any way, just like his fellow Israelites. After some time has passed, and Moses has finally discovered his true identity as an Israelite, he performs the song All I've Ever Wanted. During that particular scene, the sky becomes purple to symbolize the conflicting aspects of Moses' identity. The contrasting colors reinforce the notion of a struggle by blending the two lives of Moses, one as an Israelite and the other as the Prince of Egypt. The Israelites are represented by blue and the Egyptians are represented by red. In addition to this, the color schemes have a tremendous impact on the bond that exists between Moses and his brother, Ramesses. Moses is honored with a blue jeweled ring in recognition of his new position as chief architect Ramesses, who announces the appointment to Moses during the evening of a great feast. In the entire movie, this blue robe is the only one that Moses wears. Both the hue and the design of the ring are intended to convey the significance of Moses' position as the Prince of Egypt and the son of the Pharaoh. When Moses realizes that he cannot remain in the palace after discovering that he is an Israelite and killing one of the royal guards for lashing another Israelite, he decides to depart the palace. As if he were discarding his prior persona, he removes all of his jewelry and his wig. Moses gives some thought to removing the ring from his finger, but in the end, he decides to keep it on. When I was younger, I always imagined that Moses had preserved Aaron's ring because of some sort of sentimental attachment to his sibling. But today I believe that he did it as a reminder of the wrongs that he let be carried out on his people, the enslaved Jews, when he was living in the palace. This was during the time that he was in charge of the palace. The fact that it is a piece of jewelry is significant because it symbolizes how Moses was afforded a life of luxury and wealth while the rest of his people were put through hardship. After some time has passed, Moses travels back to Egypt to petition King Ramses to release his people. After Ramesses has refused to set the Israelites free, Moses returns the ring to Ramesses' possession. In addition, the colors red and blue are significant in the context of the God and idols theme. Throughout the entirety of the movie, the color red is used to symbolize the God of the Israelites, whilst the color blue is used to symbolize the gods of Egypt. This helps establish an even stronger connection between the Israelite people and the Jewish God. During the time that Moses is in Egypt working to persuade Ramses to free the Israelites from their slavery, Moses prays to God, asking him to perform miracles here on earth. The transformation of the Nile River into a river of blood is the first of them. In a showdown of divine might, the priests of Egypt and Moses square off against one another, showcasing the miraculous deeds performed by their respective gods. The Egyptians worshipped several deities that were considered to be false, and the color blue is symbolic of these gods. The strength of the one God worshipped by the Israelites, who is symbolized by the color red, is meant to be contrasted with the blue magic practiced by the enemy. The deeds of God are once again symbolized by the color red when it comes to the plagues that are visited upon Egypt. Before the onset of the plagues, Egypt is shown as having a pastel blue coloration. The sky glows red during the sequence of the plague song, which is meant to signify the appearance of God in Egypt. The conflict that takes place between God and Pharaoh, who refuses to release the Israelites from their slavery, is symbolized by the collision between the red and blue colors. It also symbolizes the conflict that exists between those who believe in God and those who do not. The color red serves as a primary symbol of the wrath of God in this picture. Throughout the movie, God is shown as fire, and even makes an appearance to Moses in this form. When Pharaoh attempts to attack the Israelites who are escaping through the waters of the Red Sea that have been parted, God intervenes in the form of a pillar of fire to prevent Pharaoh from carrying out his attack. How was the video? Did you enjoy it? Post your feedback in our comments section below and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates.